Something cool about my camera is that it lets me shoot without a lens on, but when I connect the lens, it stops recording mid-shoot, so not as useful as I thought it was. Anyways, it's David again, and today we're going to be looking at 5 different ways to film a wake-up scene. With school wrapping up, I'm learning that I have a lot of free time on my hands. But I don't always use that time wisely unless I challenge myself. So last week I decided to try and come up with 5 different ways that I could shoot a wake-up scene. With the help of my roommate Christian, as well as a bit of creativity, I was able to produce some things that I'm happy with. First is the classic overhead shot. It took a bit of rearranging so that I could get directly over Christian's face, and I decided to use the gimbal so that it didn't feel quite as static. Here's what it ended up looking like. Now I find that this shot is a little bit dramatic and also sudden, so it's really useful for helping it seem as though our character just snapped out of a dream, or if they came to a sudden realization of something. Second is a slow push towards our character's alarm, which happens to be his phone. Alarm scenes are so overused today that I really wanted to switch it up. I decided to use a bird's eye view and add a rotation as it moved closer to the alarm. Here's what it ended up looking like. This shot gives us a sense of mystery and poses questions such as, why hasn't anyone answered the alarm? What's the alarm for? And where is our character? Now if we simply add a hand answering the phone in this frame, it answers a lot of questions and takes away a lot of the mystery of that shot. Third is a fancy camera movement, at least fancy for me, that strings 2 different clips together to provide one sense of time passing. In the first shot, I passed by Christian at the foot of the bed with him being asleep. In the second shot, I'm in the same position, but Christian is awake and on his phone. Then I used a mask to transition from asleep Christian to awake Christian, using a bar that was at the foot of the bed. Here's how that looks. Although the shot only lasts a couple of seconds, our mind is able to bridge the gap between where he was, asleep, and where he is now, awake. Fourth is a simple focus pull between the alarm and our character. This is a fairly common shot for wake-up scenes, and it tells us everything that we need to know in frame. There's a person, he's now awake because of his alarm, and that's that. Fifth and final is a sunbeam peeking through the window and shining on our talent's face. Instead of creating a beam like I wanted to, it kind of ended up becoming a spotlight onto Christian's face. So it doesn't look like the sun, it looks like someone shining their flashlight on him, which is exactly what I was doing. That being said, I think it is usable in some sense, just not for a sunbeam coming through. Something important that I learned is sunbeams are pretty much static. I mean, the sun moves pretty slowly, and so maybe it'll slowly start to creep up into your eye, but it would have been more useful to have Christian like laying down and then roll over until his eye hits the sunbeam, which wakes him up. That makes a lot more sense than like kind of this shifting, traveling spotlight. In fact, the morning after I shot that, I woke up to the perfect sunbeam peeking right through onto my desk. So maybe one day I'll be able to make it the way that I want to. Unfortunately, that's all I have for you guys today, but hopefully I'll have some more creative practices coming up in the future. I've got a lot of free time on my hands, like I said. Once again, my name's David, and this is Depends on the Lens.